Okay, now we're going to clean the gun. First thing we're going to do when we clean the gun naturally is break it down. So I will put it together again real quick so that you can see how I break this one down. Each one is a little different. Your striker fires are a little different. Striker fire, like some of your Glocks. A lot of guns now are coming out with a striker fire versus a hammer fire. For those of you who've taken a class, I've probably talked about it. Well, I know I talked about it. It's not actually in the test, but I know I talk about it because I pull a Glock out. And let me put this pin back in, make sure everything's lined up. Because if it isn't, it's not going to go in. I am not having a good day today. I'm thinking about that stupid camera, to be honest with you. There. Okay, so we're all set. So the first thing you're going to do is lock the slide back. You're going to pull the pin. You're going to hold the slide, release the slide lock, take it off. Hold this when you pull it off and make sure you have your finger behind this pin, because if this spring isn't connected, when you pull this out, that's going to go ping right on out and across the room and hit somebody or something or lose. So you kind of want to hold it back here when you do it until you find out for sure if this spring is attached or not attached. Then you pull your barrel out, and then we have our components for cleaning. Now again, I would normally spray them down if I'm going to let them sit with that foam cleaner that's made by this. Now they have Blast. There's a bunch of people that make different cleaners. A cleaner is a cleaner. Some people actually use brake fluid. Now, not the 50 state safe one, but regular, not brake fluid, brake cleaner. You have to watch that though. It's okay on some of like your barrels and some slides, but I've seen it actually take off finishes that are just sprayed on finishes, and I've also seen it start to melt some of these frames, because some of these frames are basically just a plastic. But at that point you want to pay attention, use what you know is safe. So again, I told you I'm usually generous with this. This is the cleaner, so I'm going to spray that in there and be kind of generous with it like I told you, and I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to just clean in down each side, because there's tracks down that on the sides that are going to be filling up, and if they get too dirty and too corroded, and then like I said, you get down in there, this works good. That's the striker side of the firing pin. It's not a striker. The gun has a hammer. The hammer strikes the striker side of the firing pin. When it strikes that, it comes out of that little hole. And this should probably be all old news to you, because I've talked about this a number of times. And at that point, it sets off the round. And again, always make sure that there's no ammo present. It's always away from you to where you have to get up to go get it. This way you don't have to worry about contaminating it or accidentally putting it in the gun before you're ready and forgetting that you did so, and not maintaining your safety tips that I tell you about. So okay, so basically that's how we would do that. So I've already cleaned this gun once, so I'm just going through the steps again. Now if that was a little bit harsher in there, I would have some of this cleaner in there, and then what I would do is I would either take the brass brush, toothbrush, or this nylon brush, and I would get down in there and I would make sure I clean the tracks down each side and get that all clean, and clean down in here where the firing pin is. Make sure there's no corrosion in there, or dirt, or afterburn residue, because that's going to fill up with residue, you know. And then I'll give another little squirt and I'll let it sit, and then I'll spray inside the frame. I'll take this here little brush and I'll start doing the same thing. All right. These are the tracks I was talking about, which I like on this actually, because it has a full track, a full rail. Some guns, what they do is they embed pieces, 1/2 inch long right into the plastic frame, and they have them, you know, like a set back here and a set here, so you haven't got a full rail for the slide to slide on. And again, they're embedded into the frame, so eventually over time, if those start to wear, you're probably, or they break, or whatever the case may be, you're going to have to buy a new gun or a new frame. Where with Sccy, what they did was, it's kind of clever, these 2 pins, you pop those pins out and this whole thing will come right out. So all you have to do is put the new one in, pop them back in again. So it's kind of clever the way they designed this. They did put thought into it. You know, a lot of people don't want to buy this gun because they think it's cheap, because it's inexpensive to buy. All right, but it's actually a great gun for the money. I mean, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to give anybody ideas, but this can very easily be a $400, $500 gun and sell every day. But again, let's not raise any flags and get anything going. Now again, if I couldn't get it all with that, I would spray it, put some cleaner in there, and do it with this. If you can't keep enough liquid going, well then that's when you would take your frog oil or frog lube, you know, and put some of that on your brush if you wanted to. This brush, the barrel brush, you know, and get those slides clean. Make sure that your action's clean. Get down the side where the magazine goes. Make sure that's clean. Don't go nuts in there. Pay attention, because there's our parts down in here. We don't want to ruin them. And basically that's where we're at. So now I'm going to put some of this on there because I want to get rid of that frog lube out of there. Like I say, I'm a little free with the cleaner. All right, but you know what? Even with me being careless with it and free with it, I can still do 10, 15 guns, and it's like $8 a can or something. So anyway, that's basically done. Now with the barrel, what I would do is I would spray some crap down the barrel. I'm trying to be gentle because I don't want to ruin this lens on this camera. And I would take my brush and I would push it back and forth and clean the barrel out. Now with some guns and some cleaning and some people, they don't want you, especially if you're using your gun like rifle for competition or something, that push it through, unscrew the brush, pull the rod out, put the brush back on, push it through again. However, when it comes to this stuff, don't go nuts, just do it. It's best to clean the barrel from both sides anyway. So I would do it with that. I would put some frog oil on there. All right, because that's more of a substance, so it's not going to just leak out. And I can do that with it. So now I got to clean. Now I can take one of these if I want, but again, I'm going to take this and then spray out some of that frog oil or that frog lube. All right. I'll run my mop through there a few times. All right. I would clean up all in here, make sure this is all clean. Now here you can get away with using your brass brush if you want, because this is going to get dirty. And you want to make sure that you get as much off as you can. You're not going to get off the stains, but get any residue off. Only because it's going to keep building if you don't get it off. And the more it builds, the more problems you're going to have. Oop, wrong can. Sorry about that. So basically that's where we're at when we're cleaning the gun. So I would at that point take a patch or a cotton ball and stick through there. Here's a patch. You can buy these. You can make these out of t-shirts, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to do it this way for now to give you an idea what I'm talking about. However, you would lay it over your little, I just lay it over my brush. Now that came out clean, so I know the barrel's clean. If it came out a little dirty, I would just keep running it through until it's clean. Always keep a rag nearby so you can wipe shit down. But with that being said, basically we're done. So it's not a big deal to clean your gun. Now here's where I come in handy with the air compressor. So I like it for this reason. Make it noisy for a minute, but when I take the air compressor, I know I got leftover residue in there from the cleaning and things, so I just want to, now I'm holding it over here because I don't want to get the camera, but what I'm basically doing is I'm blowing it all out in here. And I don't want to do it here because I don't want it to splash on the lens. But what I'm doing is I'm blowing all this out. Then I'll do the same thing with the slide. There's not much to go with the slide. And that's basically it for that right now. Let me put this back over here. Normally I have all that over here with me, but because I'm doing this right now. So, I will take the oil, like I said before, and I do have a Q-tip out here someplace. I will spray a little oil on the Q-tip. Because again, we don't want much. And I'm just going to rub a little bit inside the slide here. I'm going to take this and rub a little bit on the wear spot wherever it wears, because that shows me we have contact or friction. You know, so I'll just put a little bit there. Again, whatever's on that Q-tip is all you need. Don't go nuts. Put the barrel back in here. Put our guide rod and spring back in place. And usually the barrel's going to have a little notch in it so that the back part rests on that shelf or in that notch. So that's done. This is done. Alright, we're going to slide this back here and lock it. And this one, we have to worry about that pin. So I got to pull this back enough so that I have opening there, right where that slot is on the barrel. So I can put this pin back in place. And we're done. Now, what I would do, which I'm not going to do now because I don't want to eat up a lot of time, I would take the assembled gun. You want to check everything now to make sure it's all working. Get the rag out of the way. You want to make sure it's all working. Check the slide. If there's a safety on it or a decocker, check that. Make sure you pull the, unless it's a 22, you really don't want to start whacking the firing pin. But check it a couple times to make sure it works. You can always put what they call a snap cap in there if you want to check it.